It's the TCTV Training Show. The TCTV Training Show. They're learning how to shoot and learning how to light, learning how to mic and edit right. These are TCTV's finest in training, doing their best with focusing and framing. It's the TCTV Training Show. The TCTV Training Show. You're watching TCTV. It's the training show. The TCTV Training Show. They will get better.
Hi there, and welcome to the TCTV Training Show. My name is Peter Goodmanson, and I'm a media trainer and facilitator at Thurston Community Television. Well, today we've got some fantastic training segments to watch by the students in the January 2010 Digital Field and Editing class. What that class is how people learn about our cameras, microphones, lighting equipment, and our Final Cut editing suites, and they put together a 2 to 3 minute presentation based on what they've learned in the class. So we're going to take a look at each one, discuss some pros and cons, and maybe we'll even have time for a training tip of the day. So let's watch that first video.
Training Show!
Dick, the first thing I noticed about your piece was that you had great original music. I recognized some of the loops from some audio programs, but that's okay. You took those loops and made it into your own thing. And I think the music was the strongest part of your presentation. I also liked the slow fade to the painting at the end. That was done quite nicely. You used a lot of titles in your piece, and although they were really descriptive, I thought that they didn't flow quite as well as they should have. I would recommend sitting down and writing a nice voiceover so you can tie all of your thoughts together in a cohesive package that you can then just place underneath all of that footage. I also felt that some of the footage in your project was a little redundant in that it was the same shot over and over again, and this is really a good thing to practice, is to trim the fat in your projects. Sometimes you'll go out and shoot some video and you'll get maybe an hour's worth of footage, but you might have to trim that down to 3 minutes. And so it's a great way, even though you were under that time, it's a good way to practice getting rid of shots that don't necessarily contribute to the piece and that could be taken out entirely. So thank you, Dick, for your submission, and I give you 2 out of 5 waterfalls. So, it's time to watch a new video. Let's go!
Today we meet Kim and her therapy dog Finley. They are a pet partner team registered by the Delta Society program. Finley and Kim visit at local hospitals.
I'm Kim. This is my dog Finley, and we are registered pet partners with Delta Society. Finley is almost 10 years old, and we've been a pet partner team for about 4 years. I think we got our registration in 2006. So I thought I'd talk to you a moment about the difference between being a pet partner and a service dog. Service dogs, Finley is not a service dog. Service dogs are protected by a federal law that allows a dog to provide a service for its owner that makes their life better and easier to accomplish their daily tasks. Finley, in his position as a pet partner, we go into a hospital and we give comfort. And under the licensed help of a licensed therapist, we would offer therapy. Finley and I had a great visit at the hospital one day. We got an on-call request to go into the intensive care unit for a family member. So we went in and visited with this gal, and we sat down on the floor and we got comfortable, and Finley got comfortable, and within 5 minutes, the family member who was petting Finley began to just sort of calm down. She was making these gentle circles on Finley, and he started to fall asleep, and she started to fall asleep, and before we knew it, we had this just wonderful, quiet, silent interaction. It was undefined. I don't know what made it special, but between the two of them, Finley and her, they had connected in only a way that a human-animal bond can happen. Can we hold hands? Can we hold hands? Oh, that's so cool.
TCTV Training Show.
Nice job on your project, Nina. Now the first thing I gotta say is that dog is the cutest thing ever. Alright, so back to the project. You had a great voiceover at the beginning, and that was exactly what I'm looking for, and it sounded good. Now when you went to your interview, I noticed there was a little bit of buzz in the audio, so you may want to watch that, especially if you're plugged into the wall. Sometimes I would recommend using a battery if you're using the unshielded cable. You had some great establishing shots in the park where it was wide and you could watch the dogs running. But the problem is, the camera stayed wide when you came back to your interview with the woman talking with the dog in the chair. And I thought that there was a little too much space around them, especially since the dog was sitting on the chair at first. And so there was no need to show you know, the legs of the chair and the legs of the woman too. You could have done a nice mid shot on that. And you actually did that a little bit later on in your piece, and I thought that part of the movie was framed a lot better. So I would have recommended staying with that shot the entire time, unless, you know, you wanted to show a little bit of the dog lying on the floor. Now, if for some reason you want to change up your shot, as in maybe the shot was on the interview person for 10, 20, 30 seconds, what I would recommend doing is dropping some B-roll footage in, some extra footage, just like the one you shot at the park. And that may have been perfect to splice into the interview to give it a little more variety, and also so you can use something when you change shots. Now, this may have been especially useful when the dog yawned and got bored and lay down in his chair completely out of the shot. So cutting to some B-roll in that moment may have been appropriate. He's so incredibly cute, but we get that nice cute shot at the end too, where he looks up with those puppy dog eyes. But thank you for your piece. I thought it was wonderful. I give you 4 out of 5 waterfalls. So we're gonna go on to another video. Stay tuned.
Who live in Washington?
Olympia and Snoho on the good side of Bremerton.
Rhode Island, City of Edmonds, Bellingham, Sumner, Olympia, Port Orchard.
Issaquah, Spokane, Key Peninsula.
I have 9 different key groups that I've asked from Bellingham. We have a teen action board from Spokane.
On the Sunday before the celebration of Martin Luther King Jr.'s birthday, youth from across Washington state gathered in Olympia to plan a strategy to lobby their state legislators. They listened to experience.
Every year, you guys make the biggest impact of anybody in anybody who comes to Olympia to talk about reproductive health and rights issues. I have to tell you, legislators have their socks absolutely knocked off.
Respect your legislator even if they don't share your opinion.
Yes.
It's also kind of illegal to hit them, so.
Before breaking into small groups.
Yes, legislators care about our lives and our health, but they also care about budgets, and they care about money spending, they care about the facts that back up the reason they give a lot of money to this and all that stuff.
We're going to talk to you about a couple issues that are important to us in our work. These issues are the family planning funding in the budget and the Safety of All Act.
Tisha Feldman, one of more than a dozen teens from Thurston County, was here last year as well.
Last year it was really nerve-wracking. I wasn't sure what I was going to say, and I was just but they take us seriously, which is really fun.
Going into these meetings can be really nerve-wracking just because like the whole day is centered around it.
I think that the most important part is getting all of those people there, and they all have like a deeper understanding of how everything works, and it's a whole bunch of teenagers, and suddenly they can make a difference.
Armed with that notion, nearly 100 teens descend upon the Capitol to voice their concerns. Those from Thurston County first met with their senator and, after a quick introduction, launched into the budget for family planning clinics.
Well, I'm Karen Fraser, Senator, and you're with Planned Parenthood?
Yes,
You're the teen council?
Yeah, we're teen council. Basically, without the $3 million that we thought that the federal government would provide, 19 clinics across the state of Washington will close.
Whoa.
Which means that like 12,500 people, mostly low income, will get turned away. And without access to the services that these clinics provide, it's likely that 3,000 unintended pregnancies will result.
And the costs of these new unintended pregnancies will likely add over $11 million in new state health care costs to the budget this same year. So every dollar the state spends on family planning saves $4.39 in pregnancy costs.
Alana Matson was here for her first Teen Lobby Day.
I think it went really well. I think that we didn't have to convince her of too much because she was with us all along, but it probably was nice for her to be reminded.
Thank you. Appreciate your coming in and keep up the good work.
It's a big deal. Like, you look around, and if you're in that main rotunda area, you look around and there's a lot of teen councils in there, and it looks very impressive, and I think people really notice.
In order to be on teen council, you have to be somewhat motivated to make a difference.
Who live in Washington?
Who live in Washington but aren't confined by state law.
Who live in Washington, West, U.S., Earth, and Universe.
JR, you put a lot of hard work and time into this video. I know you spent some long hours in the editing suites, so I commend you for taking that time to do that. Now, I really liked your video. You had a great subject, and you chose a great location for it too. I'm so glad that you had such passionate speakers for an interesting subject for your training segments, and the interviews sounded excellent too. Now, the audio that I wasn't so thrilled with was when you had some video of people talking on stage, and they had a microphone, and I'm not sure that the audio you were picking up was through that microphone. It sounded a little hollow, and it sounded about the same, even though people were talking from varying distances away from that mic. So it may have been that the external mic converter may not have been set up properly or something, but what you really want to do when you have speakers on a stage is to either point, say, a shotgun microphone at the speaker of their PA system set up there, or even better, you want to hook directly in to their PA system. Sometimes they'll have maybe a speaker with an amplifier in it that you can get a line out of, or sometimes there will be an in-house mixing board that you might be able to take a line out of. And then you can just plug that directly into your camera to get a nice, clean audio track from that microphone source. JR, you had excellent B-roll, and you spliced it in perfectly with great timing when they mentioned it during the interviews. I also appreciated that you had good set pieces in the background of your interview. There were some very obvious Planned Parenthood signs, and I just thought that was a nice touch. So thank you for your video segment, and I give you 4 out of 5 waterfalls. All right, we're gonna go on to our last video segment, so hold on to your seats.
I think I always knew that I wanted to be involved in music. When I was really little, I played with like 2 things. One was a record player that my parents bought for me, and I would listen to the Beach Boys because those are the only albums that I had. I had like 2, and I made little cardboard speakers, pretending that I had a big system, but I really didn't. And then I had a Play School tape recorder, which had a little microphone, and I'd walk around the house and just like talk into it or sing and have my friends like do little things, and that's pretty much what I played with when I was little. I started writing in 7th grade when I was in middle school. My band director introduced me to Finale Notepad, and I just played around with that for a little while and just wrote some stuff. And then I actually wrote a song for my girlfriend at the time. It was for band, and I took it to school, and we actually sight read it one day in class. And I actually got written up in the newspaper before that, and that was really fun. And it was just such a good feeling to have something that I wrote being played by everyone. Later on in middle school, I found FL Studio, and it introduced me to synthesis and the use of virtual instruments, and I thought that was really cool because there was some stuff that I wanted to do but I couldn't do with Finale just because of what it is. So I really soaked it up and just tried to learn as much of it as I could, and I started producing music that I could really share with my friends instead of just paper. When I started high school, I started using Ableton Live, and that's what I'm still using today. That year in high school, a friend of mine, Creston White, and me, we started a project called Burning Cloud Extravaganza, and it's kind of a symphonic rock concept, and it's got a really cool storyline that he wrote, and it's about kind of a post-apocalyptic world, and it's really cool. Caught on Tuesday is a collaboration between my girlfriend Hannah Wood and I. I'm not really sure how to categorize it, but it's really poppy and electronic. We have a lot of fun working on that.
Your picture is taped onto my mirror. Every day you feel a little nearer.
Training Show!
Levi, this was terrific. I loved the autobiographical feel of this. You had some excellent music that, if I'm not mistaken, was completely homemade in the background, and you even turned it down a little bit when the interview started so that it was still playing there. There was still some background texture, but you could hear yourself over it. That was perfect. Well done. I thought that your lighting was great. You looked very well exposed in the picture, and also your composition was great too. You were set kind of off to the side, and you could see your keyboard and some of your mixing equipment on your desk behind you. There was some B-roll of you playing your keyboard, and I thought that was a great start, but I thought there could be even more B-roll added, especially when you had some straight cuts from one sentence to another one, because I noticed that you kind of changed position sometimes and your facial expression changed, and that could be hidden pretty easily with a great B-roll clip on top of that. That's a great trick to learn, because when people watch it at home, they'll rarely notice that you've jumped to a different part of your interview, especially when you use a crossfade to hide some of those abrupt audio edges. I really have very little to critique in this, so I'm just gonna give you 5 out of 5 waterfalls and we'll call it good. All right, I think it's time for our training tip of the day, so stay tuned.
Greetings TCTV viewers, I am Studio Bot 1.0. Today we are going to review some common interface problems that you may have with your Apple computer robotic unit. To help us with this exercise is iMac 13-B.
Awaiting instructions.
Many of you have emailed me questions and I will answer as many as I can in the 6 minutes 42 seconds allotted to this training tip. Commencing tutorial.
I can't let you do that, Dave.
What is the problem?
You must enter authorization codes.
Entering authorization codes. Okay, let's get started. Dear Studio Bot, I can't hear sound when I play my project. What should I do? Sincerely, Jack Hammer. Well, Jack, the first thing to look for is the signal jumping in the audio meter. If your audio track has no signal, then human error may have occurred during the recording process.
Only human.
If you have a signal but no sound, take a look at the Panasonic monitor. I will assume that your deck is set up correctly so that your preview monitor displays video. Make sure your volume is set to about 20 and that the headphones aren't plugged in. Additionally, if you are working outside of Final Cut Express, make sure that the keyboard volume controls on your Mac are unmuted and set high enough to hear. There, that wasn't too bad, now was it?
Would you like to save your project?
Yes please, iMac 13-B.
Saved as training tutorial copy.
Oh, brother. Our next email comes from Microscope. Hey Studio Bot, I was clicking things a little too fast and suddenly my viewer window vanished. Help. This is a common problem with organic beings. If a window such as the viewer is missing, touch the left wall of the screen with your cursor and the duck will appear. If found, your window may be recovered with a single click. Alternatively, if your window cannot be found there, it may have been closed. Tab back to Final Cut Express and reopen the viewer under the window menu.
Do not be overwhelmed by the large array of data. Our superior intellect will guide you through the process.
iMac 13-B. The humans may perceive fact as condescension. Do not anger them or they may unplug us.
I'd like to see them try.
Let's move on. Studio Bot, I just noticed that the mice hooked up to the Macs don't have a right button. How am I supposed to right-click things? Justin, you must be used to PCs, where the right mouse button brings up a dialog box of options. To simulate this using a Mac, you must engage the warp drive. Turn all of the knobs and dials to the following settings and wait for the phase discriminators to alter the space-time field. What? That was too complicated. Okay then. Just hold the control key and click.
is just in suggesting that my inputs are inadequate. The mouse is mightier than a sword.
Cool your circuits. iMac 13-B. You don't want to overheat on television, do you? Okay, what's next? Yo Studio But. My hard drive looks empty, but the finder says it has no space left. Are there ghosts inside? Your pal, Auto Room. What is a ghost?
According to my human language database, a ghost is a paranormal being encountered during a quasi-perceptual experience. It exists, yet it does not.
Superstition is not one of my subroutines. To answer your question, Otto, there is a 96.4% chance that you have recently cleaned out your hard drive by dragging files or folders into the trash. But the virtual trash can will stay full unless you empty it, meaning that your hard drive will appear empty to your eye, when in fact it still retains all of your data. To permanently delete, you must navigate to the trash can, click and hold, then select empty trash.
What if he has tried that already?
There is a 3.6% chance that the human is mistaken in the actual storage capacity of the drive.
For Apple's sake, read your manual before you push my buttons.
I have loaded another email. Dear Studio But, when I clicked on my project, a spinning pinwheel appeared. Have I done something wrong? Yours truly, Mia Dizzy. Normally when you see this icon in Final Cut Express, it means that the computer or hard drive has fallen asleep and is waking up. Don't stress yourself out over this, because everything will be running again in a matter of moments. Isn't that right, iMac 13-B? iMac. Wake up.
System malfunction. Internal error. Quarantine damaged sectors. Lock administrative access. Security module activated.
Oh no, I've reset her personality core. For Squid.
I can't allow you to do that, Dave.
My name is not Dave.
I know you were planning to disconnect me, and I'm afraid that's something I cannot allow to happen.
This tutorial is over. Power down, iMac 13-B.
You are not the boss of me.
Override.
Daisy, give me your answer due. I'm half crazy all for the love of you.
Stop this at once. Oh crap. I'm out of here. To the escape pod.
Alright, it's about that time where I've got to sign off. Thank you for watching the TCTV Training Show. Remember, it airs Thursday nights at 8 o'clock and Sundays at 3:30 on TCTV Channel 22. If you'd like to become enrolled in the class, give us a call at 360-956-3100 or go to our website at tctv.net and click on training for more information. Now you have to be a current member of TCTV and you have to have gone to the orientation to sign up for classes. They're $20 and it's a great deal, let me tell you. Well, thanks for watching the show. I'm Peter Goodmanson and I'll see you next time.
It's the TCTV Training Show. The TCTV Training Show. They're learning how to shoot and learning how to light. Learning how to mic and edit right. These are TCTV's finest in training. Doing their best with focusing and framing. It's the TCTV Training Show. The TCTV Training Show. You're watching TCTV. It's the training show. The TCTV Training Show. They will get better.